Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Compassion and Courage, Conversations in Healthcare. I'm your host, Marcus Engel. The hostess is the hotness,
Marveline I thought
Engel.
I was going to get to say my own name. The
Oh,
hostess is Marveline Engel.
Okay, you want to say it? You want me to do it over again?
Marveline Engel.
Thank you, that's great. And this is the podcast where we teach compassionate communication, provide perspective, and inspire resilience. So I've been thinking about, I was playing this little game inside my own head, and I was thinking about all the words that begin with F that are associated with Thanksgiving.
That's dangerous.
That could be right. That could get you in trouble. But I thought there's two obvious ones, right, that come to mind: food and family, right?
Absolutely. And
what
friends.
else? You got any other F words for
friends?
Friends, yeah.
Friendsgiving and
Friendsgiving and football.
Football. Oh yeah, that's fun. Always the Cowboys, baby.
I don't know about all that, but football. Fat.
Oh, no, we don't talk about that.
I know, but we all feel that way after Thanksgiving dinner. So there's, whenever I think about the two most important F words, though, in Thanksgiving, it really immediately comes to mind is food and family. And yet, even whenever we come across, we're all part of the Instagram generation. Everybody sees the wonderful spreads and layouts. There's going to be a beautiful layout here on our table. And yet, whenever I think about some of my most memorable Thanksgivings from the past, it's when the food hasn't been perfect. It's when things kind of went haywire and left us with some good stories. So
absolutely.
The first story that I think you'll recall is going to be, I think it was 2 years after we got married, maybe not even 2 years after we got married, one of our first Thanksgivings together. And it was a strange Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving was on Thursday, but on the Monday or Tuesday before Thanksgiving, you had major surgery.
Oh, yes, that is right.
And so we didn't plan anything for Thanksgiving. We had family that was out of town. We knew that you'd be in post-surgical recovery, and so we didn't plan anything. But one of our family members took pity on us.
Yes, they did.
If you remember correctly.
I remember very well.
And this family member sent us like a whole, one of those Thanksgiving ham
like
boxes.
Honey baked ham.
Yeah, honey baked ham with all the fixings and stuff like that.
It was so sweet.
It was such a kind gesture. We never got to eat it.
No,
we didn't get to eat it because somewhere in the process of ordering this, the address got screwed up. And so we had to go around the neighborhood searching for who might have had our Thanksgiving dinner. Couldn't find it. So we came home and we made what?
Manwiches.
Manwiches.
One of my favorite things.
Nothing says Thanksgiving holidays like Sloppy Joe manwiches, right?
Yeah, that was fun. And actually, the one family member, one of our children was home that weekend, and they still do not let us forget that they didn't get turkey that one year.
Every year, though, we still joke about the Thanksgiving that we had manwiches.
Correct.
And that is what makes stories. That's what makes bonds. That's what makes interconnected narratives and lives with one another, right?
Yes, memories.
It's not how pretty your table can be. Not saying your table isn't pretty, baby.
Hey, I'm okay.
Okay, but it's the idea of what are you gathering around that table for? Is it for a picture show or is it for memories? Is it for practicing gratitude and being thankful? Or is it for getting just the perfect Instagram post? Not that there's anything wrong with showing what you're proud of and what you've made and created. But I hope we don't lose the feeling of Thanksgiving through the process of making things so picture perfect.
Man, it's so true. And I remember when the kids were younger and growing up, we always went together to my mom's house, always. That's where everybody gathered. That was her holiday. She like put a rule down, you come to my house for Thanksgiving. So we did. And it was always wonderful, chaotic, wonderful. Set a turkey on fire one time. Wonderful.
Turkey on fire
Which
one time.
I don't recommend. So there was no turkey that year. But most of the time it was great, chaos, fun. And then the first year came where we couldn't go. And I had to do all of Thanksgiving for the locals by myself. And I'd never done that. We all shared it, my sisters, my mom, we all chipped in. We didn't let the men do it again after the fire. But the rest of us did. But I remember actually having anxiety over, I don't know how to do this alone. We've always done it together. And I'm trying to navigate that season of, I've got to step up my game. And I'm not going to say all the food was great, or as great as when everybody brings their best dish. But it was intimate and sweet, and it had its own version of sweetness. And, I have the memory of, I can do this. I know how to do this now, which was kind of empowering. But it came from what was disjointed and not our normal, quote, holiday.
What's your favorite thing to eat on Thanksgiving?
Are you tricking me?
No.
My favorite thing is leftovers. And I'm going to tell you right now, I will admit, it is the only time of year I eat white bread, typical brand, and mayonnaise, because I do not like mayonnaise. But I will, just in case there's not enough white meat left over, because we have a lot of people around here, my original first serving is a sandwich.
Making a turkey sandwich.
I make a turkey sandwich
right
from
off
the
the
get-go
bat.
so that I don't miss that leftover turkey, because that is my favorite thing. And your mom's pecan pie is pretty amazing too.
Yeah, well, I love to consume Thanksgiving food. Obviously, we've talked about that, and I do feel like sometimes we make. Maybe we should make a side of manwiches just for old times' sake.
Hey, I'm down with that.
But let's talk about family. We talked about family and food. And even though, let's go back to this idea of what the picture perfect thing is. One of my most memorable Thanksgivings, I wasn't even around family. I didn't have family within 1,000 miles.
Oh, wow.
And that was the year that I was living in Colorado, going to the Colorado Center for the Blind for my rehab training. And I had a good friend from Missouri who happened to be living in Boulder, Colorado at the time. And he and his girlfriend and his roommate all had me over for Thanksgiving dinner. And there were a few other young people there too. We were all like in our late teens, early 20s, and people that had they'd moved across country, right? They were not with their family. And yet that little kind of group of stragglers, right, that couldn't get home for Thanksgiving, it was just such a time of warmth and friendship and fellowship and fun that we all just kind of brought our own traditions and such to the table, and even talked about over that meal, like what would we be doing if we were at home right now. And somebody said, well, my uncle would be having his fourth cocktail over in the corner, right?
Oh, no.
And then there's some people who say, well, my grandmother would be cutting the turkey right now. And so you kind of hear these stories from other people's traditions, and maybe you can kind of blend those in with your own. But
I love that.
even if you're displaced from your family this holiday season, whoever you're with, make them your family. Right? Make them your family, even if it's just for a day.
I love that concept. And even when we don't get the Norman Rockwell, everything's perfect, nobody fusses, can you imagine? And the food is perfect, it's all done right and done on time. We can still have a precious memory and time together. And we always end up inviting people that aren't family, sometimes people we hardly know, when we find out, for some reason, they are also not going to be able to be with their family this time. So I really want to encourage you to do that too. Reach out and think about who might need to come, who's had something different in their life, and they might really need to come and share some family warmth. We always say ours is a total zoo, but you're welcome here.
Yeah.
And it is. It's chaos in a zoo, but it's filled with connectedness, even when the turkey gets burnt or the potatoes don't come out right. That's still okay. And it's making me immediately think of, we have multiple nurses in our family.
Mm-hmm.
And so many times, first responders, people like that in different fields, have to work on Thanksgiving. And, you may have had family that just moved out of the state that you can't be with, or whatever the case, but especially when people are choosing to work, as chosen a profession where they're working on a holiday, we miss them. That's really hard. So we try to think of a way to incorporate them, or even have it on a different day.
Yeah. I think this year is going to be the first time in a while that we've had both of our nurse daughters around the table, just due to working schedules at Thanksgiving. So
I know that's
this is going to be a
the
pretty
plan
precious
anyway.
time this year.
So we're excited, and we've got a few other people that we don't know especially well that are going to be joining us too, which is a gift.
It is.
So everyone that gets to come, isn't that really what it's about? More than even if it's sandwiches.
Even if it's sandwiches. So, well, thank you all so much for being with us. Happy Thanksgiving. And this episode of Compassion and Courage is brought to you by Manwich. Not really, but
No,
nonetheless,
but it
it
should
should
be,
be
right?
brought
If
to
you
you
have
by
a connection.
Manwich. Yeah, if you got a connection with Manwich, maybe we can get a sponsored episode. That'd be pretty cool. But we do want to thank you all so much for joining us for Compassion and Courage. This is the podcast where we teach compassionate communication, provide perspective, and inspire resilience. I'm your host, Marcus Engel, and with me, as always, is...
Marveline Engel.
There you go. Thank you all so much for being part of this. And again, please visit marcusengel.com for healthcare consulting, compassion training, and all your keynote speaking needs.